First up, we have application SD 2175 for Mr. Petrosky. I'm not sure who's here for what. Is that neither of you?
That's KBA.
No.
Thank you. All right, so we'll skip that one for now. We'll move to Kalmayor Heim, SP 2244, which is an amended major site plan. And that one looks like, that may be Sermont. Sermont's not here either, so
Yeah.
let's see where the first lines or FWH went.
Anybody here for that?
Yes, they are here.
Latin American Pentecostal, that's Brian's, right?
Ah, they have someone.
Mhm.
Oh, we have the whole room.
The whole room. Part of it.
It looks like we do have a DPW review from the 18th. I assume that's been forwarded to the correct people. If not, let me know. I don't see anything from Shade Tree or Fire Commissioner yet at this point. And Dave, I'll let you go through whatever concerns you may have.
Okay. I think when this got submitted, they didn't realize that it technically wasn't a minor site plan, that the square footage for the second floor, it's a major, and they got to give us a new land development checklist. Rather than guess what submission waivers are being asked for, if that can get straightened out for the public hearing. And as far as it needs rear yard setback for the rear stairwell, and I guess I'll ask this question: was there consideration given to flipping the direction of the stairwell so that one wouldn't have to get a rear yard variance?
We'd certainly give the testimony at the public hearing, but it's our opinion that we really don't need it. It's a business to a business, and a church isn't strictly a business, but if they can.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the side yard setbacks. So those are existing conditions. We
Well,
mentioned that.
yeah,
But the rear yard,
Yeah, we'll give the testimony why we do that. We think
okay,
it makes sense.
that's what you,
Yeah.
that's what you're proposing. Yeah, like I said, when the checklist comes in, we'll see if
Yep.
there's any design waivers that are required. I think the plan was pretty simple, the kind of the things I remember.
Yeah, I
What
looked through the list. Jay asked us to add some stuff to the plan, which we'll do.
Yeah.
And then provide testimony at the public hearing.
Yeah, trash would be something that you should address for
Well,
sure.
we have
how
the
we do that.
We have the DPW now, so. But we'll address it at the public hearing.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like a short letter. Okay. Good. We are looking at potentially the September 19th public hearing date, pending receipt of revised plans by August 24th.
No problem.
Okay. And can I get your names just so I have them for my notes?
Reverend LeBron.
LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron, L-B-O-N.
Okay.
And I'm Jonathan Torres, part of the Executive Board of the church.
Okay, great. I recognize your face. You're
Sean McCaffrey from Special Response Construction.
Okay.
So you'll be building.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Great. I'll send out a copy of these notes just so you guys have them, but this looks pretty straightforward. Okay, thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you very much.
Joe's here, you want to go back to Petrovsky? Is this Petro?
Yeah. Well, same site.
I mean, yeah, that's the same name though, right, as the Petro we know?
Yeah.
Yes.
We do have DPW, Shade Tree, and Fire Commission reviews, and we went back to a
previous
earlier layout, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're working off the
I got October.
2016.
Yeah,
Letter,
October
right?
26th,
Right.
2016 letter.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we have the variances listed in that letter.
Correct, minimum lot area,
Mhm.
minimum lot width, rear yard setback.
Right.
Minor updates to the survey.
They are minor in nature, the existing trailer not being there, showing existing utilities.
Yeah, some stuff changed over it.
A traffic sign and
Yeah.
trees, so
Okay.
could that be during residential compliance, or we provide that now?
Well,
It's not
That
really
I'm
material
o-
to the subdivision.
Yeah, that I'm okay with resolution compliance. I mean, when you give us the resubmission back, just mention stuff like that in your letter coming back.
okay.
Our lot area variance on lot 13.02 will be slightly changed. So we're asking for a radial dedication at the corner,
Okay.
so we'll update that.
Okay. Anything else major?
Yeah. Pretty much good up to the board what they're going to do with the what they're going to do with the variances, really.
Yeah.
This was an older application, but you may just want to give us an update on county planning board status, now that that is part of the
Okay.
submission requirements nowadays.
I think we went to them and then paused it, so I'll have to check.
Yeah, that's probably kicking around
Okay.
from last year, like you said.
Okay. Good, Dave?
Yeah, I don't remember the older plan.
Okay.
You know.
The letter doesn't look like there's anything major that's missing or
Yeah.
needed, so.
Yeah, there's another comment here about providing street trees along Jewel Court. That's a
Mhm.
new subdivision that street
Mhm.
trees would have put in at the time. It would have been their responsibility to put street trees in. Correct?
We can check. Are
You
they
know
on
what,
their
you
phone?
have to look at
At a
that.
minimum, we should match, but yeah, they're,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you should look at that plan. What I don't recall from the Jewel Estates plan, if they were proposed in that area or not.
I feel like it's come up before,
It may not have
so-
been, because that lot may not have been part of the subdivision.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I won't, I'd have to go all the way back to the Jewel Estates plan to answer that question.
I can check that.
It's not created by some.
Correct. Can
Shouldn't be part of it.
you email me the landscaping plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's bonded already and somebody else is, your point's valid.
Right.
Like I said,
Okay.
I don't recall.
And if it's not, at least I'll have it so I can match what they did.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
uniform.
even if you're showing it by others, like you said.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
We're looking at September 19th. Public hearing pending plans by August 24th.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I give you
You
this?
got some?
Sure.
I think I was supposed to bring you something too, I forgot.
That's okay. I don't remember what it was as of now.
Yeah, exactly.
So. All right, I still see Sermont unless Abe is here for that one. Abe may be.
Abe is not, Abe's here on, not.
He's not. Carl Mayor Heim? No, nobody? Carl Mayor Heim on Miller Road?
Have a wonderful day.
That's
Synagogue?
Vermont.
Yeah, okay. So we'll go to Stolen Carlin?
That's us. Steal the car.
We do have fire DPW shade tree.
This one, Terry, I'm not that familiar with it.
Okay.
So you have no variances on this?
Okay, so site plan exemption, change of use,
Right.
we're not proposing much at all. They're dealing with a busing company, see exactly how to they can put some asphalt down for buses. They're working now on it already, they're talking to the bus companies, what they want. It's like one bus. And that's really it, there's nothing,
We got the memo.
they're not touching the buildings.
Okay. All three, they're converting all three, right?
Going for a all 3 use,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you got some design waivers just because of what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And John Doyle must be on this one, because he was just emailing me asking when it was
John is on
scheduled
that.
for.
Yeah, so the question is, when is it scheduled for, and when can
It's not scheduled for anything as of yet. We're looking at scheduling everything today for September 19th.
Is there an earlier one in September that we can put it on for? It's just they believe in, they would like to be in a November time, so I'm thinking if we can schedule it for September, we can get a resolution in October and just wrap it up, because it's a little more time. So I know now we have 6 sets planned, we'd like to finalize these things properly.
Must be September
2nd,
5th.
5th?
First day of school. September 5th is the planning board meeting. Obviously, there's nothing scheduled for that as of yet, but we have a lot that's,
Gonna carry out, but.
yeah, because the 2 August meetings are both overloaded, so we can schedule it for September 5th if you want, given that it's a school, right?
It's changing site plan exemption, shouldn't be much.
For a school.
Yeah, I guess as long as it's not the only thing on the meeting, right? Which probably won't be an issue.
I'm not even revising
Like
plans,
I
I'm not
said,
really,
right.
I don't think we're revising plans either.
Then why aren't you asking me for August 22nd?
Because it's a packed hearing, and
It
it's
is
not gonna get heard
packed.
anyway,
It is
so let's just
packed.
do it.
Okay.
I know, at least that will be first, we'll be the first one on September. It's
Realistically.
not gonna
Okay.
happen.
All right, so you're not submitting revised plans, are we okay with that?
Do you want, what do you want to revise them?
Yeah, I don't think, I didn't see anything that really needs to be.
There's a question about parking spaces, landscaping, lighting, trash, recyclable storage
The
locations,
site
or
plan
you're not
exemption,
doing
we're
those? Those
exempt
are
from all the,
waivers?
well, it's exempt.
No, the design waivers are
Design waivers, yeah,
required.
we're gonna ask for all those waivers, we're not really, we don't wanna touch the site.
All right,
As
no pedestrian access to and from the building. General note should be added to the site confirming that township pickup is proposed for the trash.
I mean, there's not that much.
There's not
Yeah,
much of
that's
that.
I can understand.
I'd rather give it in for compliance
Okay.
with these items, with showing whatever bus around they end up putting down asphalt on, that way you have it down in the plan. And we're
Okay.
probably back in like 6 to 8 months with a building, a big building anyway, so.
All right.
So I just, the less I do to the site today is the less he has to rip out and replace, so.
All right, so we're looking at September 5th. I don't need revised plans, but I do need
Plans.
additional sets, just because the ones I had went out to agencies. Okay, that works for me.
Thank you.
2270, Sermont is here.
We just heard that. We have other ones going on.
What do we have?
Yeah, but he has a change of use.
The last one at the end that we want to put on tonight?
Yeah, that,
Yeah, let's just do it while
Just
I'm
do it.
here and get you out.
it's just a house.
Okay. Palacios Roel, SP 2249. It looks like I've got fire, DPW, and shade tree so far. I don't know if Dave didn't review this one, Terry did. So this application they're interested in bringing to tonight's public hearing, assuming that Terry's letter says the plans are okay. So the question is, are they? Looks like a pre-existing variance for 90 feet, whereas 100 is required. Design waivers are required for a bunch of things, including curved sidewalk, landscaping, site lighting,
You wanna curb the sidewalk?
topo.
I can do it,
So
yeah. I'll do it.
We'll be okay with curb and side.
Curb and side.
We'll do curb and side.
Other board, I'll do curb
Put
and
that
side.
argument in the bud now, so
No,
we don't have to
that's-
do it later.
that's-
Yeah.
That's up till they become, that's,
All
yeah,
right.
well, let's do
I'll do
it.
it, I'll just do it.
We'll do curb
You
sidewalk.
don't need to plant it, just stand there and curb and side.
Yeah, that's fine, as long as it's, you know,
I'll put it on my plan
as long as it's
eventually.
in the
I'll
notes
put it on my
tonight.
plan, I'll put it on my
No,
plan,
I
it's
mean
no
for
problem.
tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
Questions about just typical school use, maximum, minimum
Still
students, all
address it
that
tonight?
stuff. No architectural plans have been provided.
So we wrote on, we went to the house, and we just, on the actual, this house is literally you sneeze, you pass it. It's like
It's a one
I'm
classroom.
in 20
It's one
20
classroom
scale,
house.
and this is the size of the.
Okay.
We have actually, we could call it 2 separate rooms, it'd be 2 classrooms and a bathroom with a kitchen, and
So
there's
like
another
10 by
room.
20 feet.
So I put 2 spots on just because there is 2 rooms and there's a
Okay.
little bathroom there, so
Okay.
this is teeny. The house is, we're not
Okay.
changing the house, we're not adding to the house, we're not,
It's your house that's starting, it's your school that's starting, when you can go come back to the board.
there's nothing there. So I just sort
I'm
of,
Pepper's attorney, yes, ma'am.
we literally draw, we went in there, we just draw whatever was there. It's nothing there.
I don't see much else.
Access drop, anything like that, they have permission from the school next door. There's a school right here.
Should they, but again, I don't anticipate, there's
Should-
no buses, there's nothing, again, it's.
Should they need additional drop-off, anything like that, there is next door.
Yeah, there is. It's literally a brand new school with like 8 kids in a class.
Okay.
And it's more, you can't fit more than that little hut, it's like a little shed.
Okay. Just make sure you lead off your testimony with we are adding curb and sidewalk, and then answer whatever other questions there are in the movie letter.
Perfect. So you have sets up for tonight, you're good to go for tonight. You're ready to get it.
Okay.
If not, you let me know.
Good. I'm sure that I do, because I think I asked you for that.
And add a notice and everything's done. Okay.
Okay. Great.
But I'm not tonight, you know what?
Last. You were added last, sorry. You were added right now.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh. Okay, we'll go back to Calmayor Heim, which is Mr. Sermons.
Sure, how you been? All right. Hey, Andy. Really amended this one.
That's what I call the amendment.
Oh, look at this. Oh, wow.
Looks like we do have public works, shade tree, and fire reviews already.
All right. I know you guys already did the survey that we talked about
Yes.
on this, because I already saw a copy of it.
But I had something to add to that, because later on in the drainage comment, it comes up that they want us to revise the drainage area map and drainage calculation. Just because 2 months after we designed the site plan and submitted, they tore a building down. So what I'm saying is the pre-existing condition, the grandfathered in. And
Well, I'm okay with that.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean,
It was brought up with you, and I wasn't sure. that-
yeah, no, your existing drainage area map, because of where you were, should be on the old topography.
Correct. But as a courtesy, I provided an
Right.
updated survey.
And you're right. Yeah, well, this new survey is needed really for the design or the road frontage and the site. So,
And one more thing I add to that. I was in the drainage section, I wasn't quite sure that what you were exactly looking for, design of the storm water.
it depends how much is going to it.
The thing is, the last time around, when we got the preliminary approval, I mean, the bubble basin was accepted, and we are not making any changes to Adams Street.
Well,
And
I
was there-
don't know if that was true offhand, because I don't know if the data was there to substantiate that.
All the changes, all the amendment was within the site, off-site, on the street. It's nothing changed. So I'm assuming that,
You missed my point. I don't recall what data was already on Adams Street before, so that, I don't know if we even evaluated that before. That's my point.
okay,
And, I'd have to go back to the old file to look at that. I don't know that offhand.
we can talk about that later.
So, I guess the biggest deal about this, the architect's plan has this patio larger than you guys are showing. I mean, the way he has it is going into the street.
Well, in the
So
front,
it's- Yeah.
it's
yeah.
pretty much attached to the existing sidewalk. There's no disconnect. That front patio is attached to the existing sidewalk.
You mean the proposed side? It's not there.
Proposed sidewalk is attached to the proposed sidewalk, yes. The two are connected.
Okay.
There is a-
It does,
There isn't a
it's
step.
not clear that way, the
Yeah.
way.
I mean, it should be shown more clear in their probably architectural elevations.
Well, when I looked at the architectural plan, the patio was going into the right of way, and it's like, well, okay, it's different size than what you had. I
It
don't,
seems like there isn't a step from the public sidewalk up to the patio.
that's what it looks like on your
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah,
correct?
so, but
So,
We can
I mean,
clarify
yeah,
that.
I mean, that needs to be cleaned
Yeah.
up. I don't know what, exactly how the workings work on that. So, and, it's up to the board what they want to do with the variances. Yeah, I know you're looking for a bunch of setback variances. And the other thing that has to be cleaned up is what's going on with the parking, if there's gonna be catering or not, because it's not clear how many spaces should be provided. That's kind of the biggest thing too.
those testimony will come in public from the
Okay.
applicant.
Yep, it's gonna have to be. What else?
Other than
The last thing. Now, you wanna keep the existing building
Yes,
as long as you, how is that gonna work?
once the new building is completed, they want to tear down the existing building
Mhm.
and building the parking lot.
Right.
So that's the only way.
Okay, I guess the point is that there's,
But they want to keep
Conflicting-
this upright as long as they can while this is being completed.
okay, but some of the stuff conflicts.
Like what?
Well, I mean, you got all these existing ramps that are gonna be where the new building is.
Well,
Those exist now.
well,
I'm not sure exactly how, I'm not sure how you're exactly gonna
regards to the
accomplish it. I think
ramps-
you guys will look at that, is my
And in
point.
regards to the ramps and the sidewalk associated with this parking lot, those gonna be completed once the parking lot goes into construction.
I'm not,
I know-
I'm
I
not
know-
questioning
I know
that.
what you're saying, Dave.
I'm
I know what you're saying.
I'm saying you have
We
ramps
obviously
for the
can't use these
existing
ramps.
building, and the new building is going over where those ramps exist now. You guys
We'll
gotta
get a-
figure
we'll
this
get a-
out.
we'll get a
That's my
sequencing-
point.
We'll get a sequencing it out.
Okay, there you go.
Well, those things gonna be done anyway.
I
So,
know, you can't use the
testimony-
building, but
Yeah, you
you
guys,
gotta have access to it.
as Chet said, you need some type of sequencing plan to show how it's gonna work, so.
We obviously aren't gonna have any accessibility to this building. It's gonna be a building.
Right, yeah, right, you're gonna have to give that up for a while, or something like that. And, I mean, that doesn't goes beyond us. I mean, the building department's gonna have to be okay with stuff like that,
Right,
not us.
right.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my point.
I'm with you.
All right. Anything else that you saw of issue? I think, our letter was pretty specific on what we were looking for, so.
Looks good.
I think that was it.
All right.
We're looking at the September 19th public hearing. I need revised plans by August 24th. Okay. Thank you. Which one's your other one?
Finally, the
Oh,
other one is
yeah.
gonna be on?
Icorn, right?
Yeah. Was it determined if this is going to zoning board or?
That's what we were talking a minute ago. Is it this one or the other one?
that
Allie, I
that
found the wrong letter in this folder, that's why.
Oh, it's not 79. 79 is FWH. It's 80 that is this one, sorry.
We can do 80. 40 has to do.
Okay.
This one also? Hey.
Well, but isn't he the one that's?
80 is,
Yeah,
yes.
same behind you.
that's-
We've
Yep.
been quiet.
Okay.
I don't know if you need them, but shade tree reviews came in today for
You were
these.
kind enough to send it, but I'll take this one too.
Oh,
This
yeah.
one, no, it just gave me this.
Is
Did
that
you have
right?
one before it?
Okay, that was a different one.
Yeah, it might have been a different one. Okay. We think it needs zoning board approval. That's my fault, I should have seen it from the beginning. We have a few of these that come up here and there, and that little catch in the HD 6 and 7 about being 200 feet from Route 9.
For a residential use, but we already have a residential use. That's the difference. And we did have one similar to that a few months ago, and that was the argument, and it went through.
Existing non-conformity?
Yes, it's an existing use. So the intent of the ordinance is that there's no residential uses, but when the residential use is already there, and we acknowledge we need a bulk variance then, and we gotta give the proofs for the bulk variance, and the bulk variance, so we go to the intent of the ordinance, which was not to have residences fronting on Route 9, and we don't. We have the residences all come to the side streets, and it's the same thing as Henry Street on the other side. So that's our case, and we'd hope that
So
the board would make
that was the situation we had before as well, because there was a residential use on that other
Yes,
project, correct?
yes,
As I
correct.
recall.
Correct. So if it was vacant or business, well then, we're at the wrong board. The residential use is what that ordinance was put in there, and we already have the residential use, it's pre-existing. Like, you know, it's the same as if we get a pre-existing bulk requirement. But it-
What's there now?
A house.
One house?
Two
Yes.
houses, right?
There's two
facing
houses
River
on it,
Avenue?
yeah. There's
One-
one facing each street,
What's proposed to go there?
a duplex.
Just one?
Well, it's
No,
one,
two.
How many? So 4 units? But isn't that an expansion of the non-conforming use, because it's 4 dwellings versus 2?
well, if it was a non-conforming use, then maybe we would get there, but I don't look on this as a non-conforming use, because the residence was pre-existing and there, and then the ordinance went in, and even when they put the ordinance in, they said there's a year for it. This is similar to, it was just a few months ago, we did it on the other side on Henry Street. And we presented that to the board, and the board made the decision.
I think it may still be a pre-existing non-conforming use though. If it was pre-existing to whatever ordinance did not allow with residential use.
The ordinance
Came after.
was 2013.
Right.
I think I would probably want to defer to John about it though, but
Well,
my opinion is I think that's
well,
an expansion of a non-conforming use.
And certainly we
Sounds
would
like
want
it's-
John to weigh in on it. I'm assuming he's going to be at the public hearing. At the public hearing, we'll present the testimony to John and to the board, and the board would make the decision.
Decision whether or
and-
not to take jurisdiction over it.
Right, yes.
But, I mean, I don't know if it's a waste of your time if they just keep kicking, so.
Well,
I think we should talk to
we
John
had
about
the,
it.
yeah, we had the same situation last time, and it wasn't a waste of our time, so we're hoping to have the same.
Well, if we're
outcome.
looking at September 19th, you've got plenty of time to have that discussion with John before we send notice and get to that September 19th meeting,
Okay.
right? I would say that's one of those things that should
Yeah.
be resolved before we get to to the public hearing, so
Yeah.
that we don't have this discussion at the public hearing.
I
and
mean,
waste
unless you
the board
continue
time.
to disagree about it and then still want to present it to the board and let
Right.
the board decide, but
Right.
I think it's worth it to talk to John ahead of
Yep.
time and see if you can figure it
Yep.
out.
Okay.
Yep.
But my opinion seems to be that it's requires a variance.
Okay.
All right. So what are you guys doing about the sign?
You're going to have to move.
I like that, you
That's
have the
pretty-
neighbor's
pretty
sign on
easy.
your property.
Yeah.
That property belongs to Mr. Icorn as well.
Is that a bad looking
Oh,
sign?
we own that property as well.
Oh, same owner? How about that?
It's not a bad looking sign either.
No, it isn't, it's new.
Which one is
It's
this?
pretty new anyhow.
Which one is this?
Okay,
That's
that's how the sign
2280.
went up there.
2280.
Put it on his own property.
This again, revised plan, you expect?
August 24th for September 19th. Dave, did you have a chance to review the other? Yeah, you do have the letter. Do you have other conditions or comments that you needed to discuss if this is going to be going forward?
I think the rest of the stuff was pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I mean, I think you answered some of the questions as why the sign is there and why the existing landscape is the way it is. Because it runs in next door as well, so.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff I think is pretty straightforward in our letter as far as that goes.
And at this time, you are asking for a waiver for the requirement to submit to the county planning board, correct?
At this time.
Yeah, if there's a question over jurisdiction, then
Okay.
that would be why we don't want to submit it this
Okay.
time.
Sounds good. Good with September. Pending discussion with John and the revised plans.
September was 21st, right?
September
19th.
19th,
And revised plans?
8/24. Mhm.
Good seeing you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 2279, same applicant name. This one, the plans were done by FWH, and I don't believe we had the question over the use being permitted.
This is Sylvan Court?
Yes.
Do you have the revised plans of Vinnie?
The revised plans were received today, so I guess they just anticipated any issues that may have come up at today's meeting.
I think they addressed them
Hopefully,
in
they
detail.
don't need to revise them again. They're in my office. I'll send them back with you. If there's anything else of concern in the letter, though, that we need to
Okay,
make sure it was
I
done, we should check
I
that.
remember this one. Yeah, all right, so I assume you're gonna continue to ask for quite a few submission waivers just because
Yes.
of the way this
Yes.
is situated. It's like,
Yes.
it's, I guess, an add-on to what's already
Right.
been
Yes.
approved is what it comes down to. All right, so we'll review those with the revisions. And then you have some lot width variances. And design waivers you have to deal with because you're not
Yes.
on
Because it's a unique,
a public road.
because it's a unique property.
Right.
So we've already revised the plans. We'll give the testimony at the public hearing.
Okay.
September 19th.
Oh, and I know you guys have the topography for this already, which.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that you
I'm
probably.
hoping that's on the plans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you probably took care of that along with the revised plans, I would assume. Yeah, because it was like, well, okay, can't forget all the design here. The rest of it, I guess, is pretty straightforward after that.
Okay. September 19th, then, we do have the revised plans. You take a look at those.
Yeah, we'll take those
We'll get a
back.
review at it prior to the meeting, I guess, and the
Correct.
revised plans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
2281 Avenue of the States. I know I gave you directions, but I don't remember your name, I'm sorry.
Kevin Murphy,
Kevin Murphy.
DW
thank you.
Smith.
How many Murphys are there?
DW
Are there a lot?
Smith, 4.
4?
Includes my mother. But she's only part-time, because she's at 78, she gets to
Goodness.
come in half a day on Mondays.
That's nice. It looks like we have,
Alls I know is that one of the Murphy kids went to Donovan with my daughter.
Tom, that would be Tom's,
Yeah, it'd be Tom.
Tom's son and daughter.
That's right.
My crew went to South.
Okay.
we do have Public Works, Shade Tree, and Fire. I'm looking at County Planning Board at the moment. I'm not sure if we have a proof of submission to that.
And I know
Sure, it's in the works.
I know you guys have old aerial topography
Yeah,
on
I
this.
brought, I think I emailed the topo and I brought 2 copies, but we'll have that.
Right, yeah.
We'll have that,
Yeah, back
however
on-
many we need for
Back
that.
with the
Okay.
revised submission. Let's see. No variances. The only, I guess we're looking for design waivers from the street trees.
non-radial line.
And the non-radial line. So what's the,
What's the story?
yeah,
Yeah,
why
there's so
why
much
the
going on
unusual
over here.
shape?
There's questionable ownership here.
Oh,
So
really?
they're just working around it.
Okay.
There's somebody who, I
Ah,
think throughout a
okay.
portion of this area, there's been a number of
Mhm.
lots that
Yeah, I
somebody
don't
has
remember the
claimed
name.
ownership
There's
for,
the-
but
Thank you, the Garza properties.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
just to
That's
avoid
interesting. I
a couple
wonder
of
what the
small
deal is with
lots
that.
there.
Yeah.
Now, what happens with CAFRA on this now? Because the CAFRA permit has a 20-year build-out, but yet it technically expired. So I don't understand how that works.
I'll let Tim Laurie, who was the original engineer, speak to that
Right.
at the meeting. He provided me with a copy of the CAFRA permit and said it shouldn't be a problem. So
Yeah, no, I have the CAFRA permit as
Okay.
well. So it was just a question because, with the Permit Extension Act, there was no issue, and now that that's expired, and it's like, okay, well, the CAFRA permit technically expired, but they approved it for 20 years. It's like, well, that's conflicting information. It's
Yeah.
like, well, what's the deal with that?
Mm.
So,
Okay.
and I think everything else is pretty straightforward. Well, technical stuff on the
yeah, I don't
map.
think we had any problem making the changes that have been requested on the map, and we'll sort out. I guess we had shown here on the rear setback greater than 50, but we'll knock that down to 30 as the minimum.
Okay.
That was just a typo.
All right.
Okay, so we're looking at September 19th for the public hearing date. I will send a copy of this notes with that information to, I don't remember who I've been working with, Justin?
Jason.
Jason, thank you. You have a Justin as well, correct?
I don't think,
No?
we might have at one
Okay.
time, but,
We're looking for revised plans by August 24th.
okay.
Jason Bernico, I will email him these notes.
Could you CC me if that's okay?
Yes,
I'll give you
just
a
the
card.
same email format, or if
Yeah,
that
that's
works
fine.
as well? Great, thank you.
And just because
the plans
Jason's
are all
on
done by the
vacation.
surveyor.
Yeah.
Well, engineer too.
Well, that's true, but
Okay.
All right,
in
thanks very much.
this case, both, right?
Right.
All right, Albert Street Holdings, SD 2282. Shade tree review came in today. There's your copy, shade tree review came in today. We also have the fire
Yeah, I think the
review.
shade tree needs to be updated. There's a rear wood line back here, that we're asking for buffering.
Okay.
It makes no sense to put shade trees or trees in the wooden buffer line.
It doesn't, I mean, we're buffering houses from houses.
No, there's buffer, yes, doesn't make any sense. That's right.
Yeah. That's true. What is this reference on the bottom to full hazard plan? I saw that note on another review for another
If you-
project.
This particular type of tree, if you plant it in fall, it's got a much higher chance of dying.
Oh, okay.
If you dig them up in the spring and you replant them in the spring, they have all summer to re-root.
Got it. Huh,
So there's,
okay. I was just curious.
yeah, there's a few of those out there.
Okay.
So when they construct, sometimes they have to leave those out to a different time of year.
Right, got it.
I wanted to this for you when we're done.
Oh, thank
This is
you.
your copy.
This particular one is like impossible to.
It's hard because it's cut sheets, they're mapped on
Cut
match
sheet.
lines.
So
It's a
I'm
large
reading it at
book.
like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have a full-size set of
This-
plans on this one.
You should
Dave, are you
see me when I
familiar
do
with
the
this one?
certified
What's
list with
that?
the tax maps.
Yeah,
like
I'm
cutting
familiar
and
with this
pasting
one.
them
So you go to
every
history.
which way.
And I'm like trying to blow it up. on the
Yes,
screen.
yeah, remember, yeah, because this was
Some of them you just-
Somerset.
So this was 70
previously-
units, now it's 42 singles,
Right.
You're
reducing
saying this one should
density.
be, this one should be a no-brainer. We're going from 70 units down to 42. We're making them all single-family. We're just making it, it's an amended, but just a much nicer.
Right.
project.
You're going for the same variances on the community building as before with the front setback and the rear setback.
Correct, because that's not, the community building's not changing, which, by the way, you also asked why you didn't have architecturals, because it's
You
not
do.
changing.
You have it in your
So you
file.
do.
Okay.
It's an amended,
okay.
so.
All right,
If
so
the
we-
board wants to see them, though, I'm not gonna have extra copies for them. So, I mean, that's up to you. They have seen them in the past.
Why don't
It
you
may
put-
not be a big deal,
Could you
but.
put on your notes just to hand in extra copies?
Yeah.
I have it, it's no big deal, I'll print extra copies for the board.
Okay.
I just
Also,
didn't-
if they do ask you, Ally, they're not really approving anything new on the community center. It was
Right.
already approved. That's
technically, since the resolution and since the map wasn't filed, we have to officially ask for those variances again.
Yeah, no,
But
no,
as you wrote in your letter,
understood.
these are all the same as
Right, we tell
before,
you,
yeah.
we tell you the ones that were approved previously.
I don't believe these two are front setbacks. We're gonna address it in our letter. These two
Right, those
should
are-
be under the
Right.
single-family detached sub-district, which is actually 5-foot setback. And because the R12 sub-district is for this side, is for the western side of Sims, and there's two different, so I don't believe there's any other new variances at all to describe it, besides for the community center, which is existing.
Well, no, those weren't the ones.
You see, I couldn't
We were
figure out
looking at
which ones you
here,
were talking about.
Here
You
and
said
here.
1 and 20, I think, but I couldn't
This
tell
is,
which
this is
lot.
1 and this is 20. Those were the ones we were talking about.
We're gonna revise whatever that is.
I think
One-
this is exactly where I said I can't even figure out.
Where do you
which
have a
lot
front
is
setback
which
here?
when I was trying to piece it together.
Yeah, they're only 15 feet.
It's only 15.
Oh, we'll put it back.
Oh, it
We'll
said
push it back.
5 in the table. That's why we
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to
yeah,
these.
yeah. Yes, we'll push it back.
But those were the
Yeah,
wrong
these
lot,
aren't
and
in
there was no
question. Now, it's
20.
this
I looked at the wrong lot one.
Yeah, and then if you flip to this, you have, because you have the right-of-way here, this is you got 2 fronts.
We'll fix it.
Is that Paper Street, the towers over
Yeah,
there?
yeah, well,
Yeah, it's a paper street there.
yeah, that part is up to
And
vacated.
I don't know if that's gonna be vacated. I don't know,
Doesn't
but it
matter.
hasn't been
We'll
yet.
we'll fix the box up and no problem. We're not asking for that variance.
So that's what's going on
There's
there.
no variances on this, right?
No additional besides for the shul, community
Besides
center,
the
nothing.
And then the design waivers are the same you asked for before with the non-radial lines, and we point out that that was approved. And we'll go back to, yeah, well, we don't have to go back to the architectural plans on the other job.
Okay.
Because we didn't assume
You
it was
realized,
necessarily the
right.
same.
We took the CAD and dumped it right in. We had the old CAD, so we didn't touch the building. Whatever was there was there,
Right,
whatever. We
right.
just took their old
No,
plans.
I figured that when I read your letter. that
Yeah.
That's why you didn't realize.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So when you'll realize that when you write the next letter.
We're gonna address that
Yeah.
in our, in our.
Well, you said you'll submit plans. You have architecturals,
I
right?
have, yeah, but, yeah, and we'll address it as well with our.
Yeah,
our
you're right,
team.
do some.
We're in the middle of revising these plans anyway. We wanna fix some of the grading up and make it a little more usable, the backyards, and do a couple more small walls here and there.
So where are you gonna stand with the MUA?
Pretty deep in. MUA is finishing their CAFR permit right now because they're to get to the site, they have a CAFR permit to get it to the site.
Right.
They expect to have their permit within 30 days. And then
Yeah.
we'll go, they got all easements are filed and done,
Well,
because
that's
they're
good.
pulling it back through here.
Right,
So they
right.
have all the
Yeah, I
easements
saw
that
that
they
on the
need.
plan.
Yeah,
We're-
that was done.
we're
Yeah,
gold.
Mike Gross has been very busy with the,
Okay, well, yeah, I think he's about 30 days out, we're done.
something like that, because he's.
But we do have backup. If MUA somehow goes bad, we have access to New Jersey American Water, if MUA gives us permission to. So if for some reason they don't get their CAFR permit or something along those
Are
lines,
you sure they're that far along? I know CME recently asked me if they're about some other permits in the area.
that was the
They're
final thing that
definitely-
CAFR said.
Oh, okay.
The final thing is we want to know where it
Definitely-
moves to.
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
copied on all the emails with Mike Gross is handling it, but
Okay.
they're pretty deep into it.
Okay.
That was the last thing. They want to see any potential development in the area,
It felt like a question that would have been from the beginning of the
It
CAFR
seemed like
process.
this was-
That's the only reason
It's
I
definitely
asked.
not, because
Yeah.
they were asking, right, all kinds of,
Okay.
they were looking for the environmental
Yeah,
impact
yeah.
statement, and, yeah.
We gave them everything they did. Yeah, we gave them
Cool.
all that stuff. That's
Okay.
it. This is a.
This
Great.
should be an easy one.
All right.
So I assume these units
You
are
should-
more.
you should get more of
Better for sales than.
I'll tell you the truth, it's just the owner changed. The owner changed, and the
Oh,
new,
you
and this,
wanted a different.
this new owner really just wants,
Didn't like
prefers
the
single
townhouses.
families. He likes single
Yeah.
families. I
Yeah.
think they could
We
sell
got rid
either
of-
in that
We
neighborhood,
have no
but.
HOA. All streets are now RSAS, 32 feet. We got 100-foot center line.
Right, yeah,
It's
yeah.
much
Everything.
nicer now.
There's no alleys, no back alleys. The old site was they didn't want any of that. They wanted
You know,
streets to town and clean.
Honestly,
Anyhow.
they could have sold the other ones. It's right next to that whole other project. It's like next to a whole bunch of townhouse projects.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
right adjacent
Yeah.
to Treff and all those. So they could have sold them. I just think this particular new owner just really wants a nice project.
I figured the reason.
And the playground's part of the shul lot.
Townhouses.
Playground's owned by the
Okay.
shul. This is all one large
Oh,
lot.
really?
The shul's gonna own it. So there's no HOA involved there at all.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
that's
good
good.
to read.
And that's it's clean.
September 19th,
Yeah, you will get revised plans. Yeah.
August
You wanna write
24th
that?
for plans.
August 24th revised plans.
August 24th.
Great.
Um, Yeah, we might as well, unless, we don't want to go September 2nd, do we?
September 5th?
5th? We earlier in the application, what are you,
Honestly,
everyone's around?
anything that's going today to September 5th is going to go after whatever from October got carried,
So forget about it.
so.
October.
You mean, you mean today,
What are you
August.
talking about?
August, yes, move it along.
Anything from tonight and 2 months, 2 weeks from now.
That's true, but usually we don't carry from October to September.
Backwards.
We'll leave it as it is.
Okay.
What is that, like, right before she shut up?
This shade tree review just came out as well, another shade tree
Another one.
on this one. Yeah.
Okay,
We're doing 2248 now, right?
Dave, pretend I'm ignorant, because I really am in
Yes.
certain things. How does the shade tree go from shade tree to like landscaping reviewers? How does that work?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
How do
They
they order?
do what they.
What gives them the authority? Honestly, though, does the ordinance give them authority to go from shade tree reviewers to like we're gonna review all your landscaping, your entire site, and I mean sometimes
have
it makes,
knowledge.
but it makes analogy of a 15-foot backyard. You're putting in 8-foot trees in a 15-foot backyard. Like I got another one. I'm like, what are you thinking? It's like the ridge area.
The guy who does the reviews, I think it's a landscape.
Why are you asking
No, because I want you to review. I want you to be there.
Good question.
the
We probably
planning
should-
board engineer, why,
No,
how
but
the
we should
shade tree
probably
commission
look
works?
up,
I don't
like,
know.
I would like you to answer your review when it doesn't make sense. Say shade tree recommends this.
I'm not sure,
In
they're
this
appointed
instance,
by the
it's not
committee,
their
aren't they?
authority.
They're appointed by the committee, so the
Honestly,
committee
no,
will be
none of
the
us have
ones
ever
to tell them
thought
what they
about it.
should or
It's a good
shouldn't
question.
do.
The
As long as
ordinance,
the
the
authority
ordinance
of
does not give them the
In
authority. I
fairness,
looked
if
into
you
this.
read the reviews, I don't think the reviews are out of line. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
buffering.
it's
They don't-
stuff that we don't necessarily bring up, but we could.
But they got into this, put buffers in from one residential lot to another residential
And
lot.
that's wrong.
Well,
Why
I think
should I-
that depends on the situation.
No,
doesn't
no,
it?
no, they're doing it all over. You know, we just looked at Albert. They want an evergreen buffer along the whole back of the property.
Why?
And the
Where we're
ordinance
leaving,
doesn't
we're
require
leaving
it.
25 feet of trees, and we're buffering ourselves from another residential development.
But Glenn, it's only a recommendation. I think it's only a
Right, I think the
recommendation.
issue is, we have a history of getting these reviews and saying, yes, we'll address everything in Dave's letter, rather than saying, well, the Shade Tree Commission wants these ridiculous things. And then when it gets to Dave for Res Comp, Dave's like, well, you said you'd address everything in my
Yeah, I
letter.
mean-
My
I mean,
letter
so
points to
you
this
have-
letter
you
that
have-
says all
what I
these
just
If
did
you
ridiculous
have
on-
an
things.
objection, you have to.
So what I
bring it
just
to
did
the
now on
board so they
Bourbon,
can act on it.
what I did on
Yeah.
Bourbon on that cul-de-sac, which we like at final compliance basically, we wrote in our letter stating, well, we're going back to the old resolution. Resolution said, the board recommends you can try to listen to the shade tree. And they want this 15-foot backyards, and they were asking for a whole row of buffering. I'm like, no, we can't do that. It doesn't make sense, because then you have 0 backyards. So we said we're going to put a fence instead, a 6-foot white vinyl fence, and get rid of those trees, so the kids actually have a place to play. And I think your office accepted it. But you're right, we should be looking at this. We should be responding to
The
it.
problem
We
is
should-
they
we should
usually
probably
come,
send
we
a
usually get
response.
handed them at the tech meeting, but we should definitely be looking at them. And they're always handwritten. I guess no one knows how to type at the Shade Tree Commission.
They are.
I don't think there's any, aside from the board saying, will you please do what Shade Tree wants to do? I don't think. the
Yeah, I don't
ordinance
think
gives them-
there's a requirement.
There's
I
no
think it's
requirement.
just by default it becomes part of the file, and unless we specifically acknowledge that we're not doing it, then it becomes a problem at Res
My original
Comp,
question
you
is,
know?
where does Shade Tree
You know,
decide
Josh,
if
is-
the
I don't-
landscaping
yep.
experts
No,
are
and as,
town?
and as far as I know, they're just recommendations. The board doesn't have to adopt them, so if we have issues with them, we should be raising them so that the board can then
I
make
know,
a
but when you're
decision
going-
whether they want to adopt the findings, the
Right.
recommendations.
But nobody
or
wants
not.
to go in front of a board and ask for a relief on anything. People want to say, you know what, I'm conforming.
Well, it's not relief.
Well, then you gotta live with it. If you're saying I'm
but
conforming,
it's
don't come
not
back to
relief.
me
It's
later.
not a variance,
It's
it's
not
not a
relief.
waiver, because
Right.
all they're providing are recommendations, that they're making recommendations to the board. The board doesn't have to follow them, so if we make cogent
Let the
arguments-
board say Shade
but
Tree's
in my
being
days-
overzealous and asking for 1,000,000 trees everywhere.
So in my
you know?
days on the board,
But we'd have to
before
point
the
it out
Shade
for
Tree
the board
did
to
this,
realize it.
in my days on the board,
Right.
before Shade Tree did this, we turned to Terry or Dave, whoever was at the meeting, when we never discussed landscaping, we said, we turned to the client, will you provide landscaping to RVE's, to your satisfaction? This is what we did for years. And the client said yes. And then you worked something out, something that made sense for the site, and RVE got to say, okay, and you had the discussion after saying, okay, this makes sense, this does not make sense. Getting like a handwritten thing, sometimes you can get a week before the meeting or 2 weeks before the meeting, and you don't even have, it doesn't even get to go into plans until later on to compliance, and it just gets shoved in.
lately, Ally's been handing them to us at the tech reviews.
Usually.
I
Not
give
always.
them out as
No, I
I get
understand.
them.
I know,
but
you email them when
Sometimes.
you get them
they are-
earlier, but
yeah.
I don't remember recall you emailing them most recently. I think you've been getting them handed to us, which means the plans are long
And
since
the,
time.
It's just something to pay attention to in your letter. Say if something doesn't make sense, you could also call out, say Shade Tree's recommending this, but maybe we recommend something else.
Right.
Because I probably would rather stick with your landscaping architects and your.
Also, I think if the board has to choose whose recommendations they're listening to yours rather than to the Shade Tree Commission. I mean, they're
Unless
gonna
the Shade
listen to their
Tree-
Well,
engineer.
you can also condition landscaping, like subject to the approval of the board engineer planner.
Well, that's what we used to do.
We used to
That's
do
what
that for
Josh was
years.
saying.
We did that,
For
and then they
years, we
started
used to
giving us
say that. Let's
recommendations.
just condition the approval on getting RVs, getting their.
So if you disagree with something in their recommendations,
And we have
that's
to
when I
point
think
it
you
out.
bring it up to the board and say you're willing to work with the board professional to come up with a reasonable solution for the site.
I think the point is that we have to review these, and if we agree with something, we have to raise it.
Not always do you have the opportunity at the hearing to do that. Sometimes hearings move, and you're just being
Well,
told
we
to keep
probably
quiet
have it-
because the board is moving through something.
As long as we have the recommendations before the technical hearing, we have an opportunity to do it here, which.
To have it in the
for
letter
example,
saying we
just
disagree with this, and then your letter can carry that in, saying the applicant's engineer said he would like, now, you can add our comments to your letter.
Which actually, Dave, did you make note of the comments that we made on the buffer on the last application?
We're gonna address it. We're gonna put it in our letter. Our letter to hand it up to the revised plan, that cover sheets are just,
Great, okay. So
Address
then it'll
everything.
get addressed.
Yeah, exactly.
we address everything.
That's exactly that's how it should
go,
work.
right.
But then, but
Right.
if your letter doesn't call it out though, I lose it. So your letter would have to call out the fact that we asked for that. We have not relief, we're not.
Applicants got this review and they're disregarding comments XYZ.
Well, yeah,
Because it doesn't-
Right, right.
Because it doesn't make
I
sense.
didn't mean it
Yeah.
to be so negative.
they're gonna give an explanation of why they're doing something.
Right.
And
That
we're gonna
carries to
give,
the
and we're
letter.
gonna give an
Right.
answer of some nature.
And if it
Right.
carries to your
Depending on what
letter,
it
then
is.
we're good to go.
You know.
So then we also have to make sure we always get the Shade Tree Commission's recommendations and that we
No,
take a
with
look.
enough time that we could put into our cover letters and put into our letters.
Unfortunately, I don't have any control over the time. They show up when they want to and they
Yeah.
submit reviews,
Yeah.
I just, all I'm
once
saying,
one week
maybe,
and then not
Sometimes
for
they
3
don't,
weeks,
right?
so I,
at some point, maybe there should be a phone call to Shade Tree saying, guys,
How often do they meet?
does anybody know they're doing this? I don't even know if Township Community knows that they're doing landscaping plans for people. Maybe that's not their,
Public meetings.
yeah.
How often do they meet?
They have to have it public and you could speak over there.
Do you know how often they meet?
Do you know when they meet
You go
next?
to every meeting with your cameras.
I
You should know
could
how often
ask
they
Itzy
meet.
Goldschmidt. He's the new guy over there.
Well, maybe I'm gonna go, I'll try looking up what the next meeting is, and I'll try to find it, I'll go and just,
You
I'll
don't,
bring
you
the ordinance,
don't-
remind them what
you
their
don't video
responsibilities
Shade Tree
are.
Commission meetings?
I'll remind them
That's not
what their
good.
responsibilities are, what they're not, so.
you asked for a waiver on Ocean County Planning Board submission until before public
So
hearing.
which one
Are
is
we
this?
working on that? This one?
Yeah, so, we're actually,
Okay. We got Dave's review, and we gave the plan to our traffic engineer.
Scott Kennel.
Scott Kennel. Both had basically the same comment that we had too many driveways on Route 70. And Scott Kennel's review indicated that there's some work going on over further to the east on Chestnut Street with the signal and all this other things that are going on. So we're basically going to redesign the site to move the easterly driveway to the westerly side, so it's one driveway straight through. Eliminate one of the Route 70s, so this driveway that's on the east side of our site plan will now be on the west side of the site plan on Chestnut. These will end up being dead-end aisles.
Okay.
So that I know Dave
good
had a
idea.
comment about there's some, and I
We looked at it
didn't notice
carefully.
it. Yeah,
You
there's
did
like
on the survey,
like
you
a
noticed it.
yeah like a foot over the curb line is a vent for the gas station. So we're gonna get rid of the driveway. We're gonna use some of that area. You know, we're gonna extend the parking over there, move our trash enclosure out of the way. Probably lose an islands, but we'll give you the turning template that shows that the garbage truck can get in. Do that. I believe the architect's plan may have had the delivery door on the west side of the building.
yeah, that will work.
Now it'll work. We'll just get rid of one space.
Right, okay.
And
Yeah.
basically, deliveries will be, I know restaurant deliveries are normally in the morning before 12 o'clock. That's when our deliveries come to my wife's restaurant. So they'll be able to just pull up on this side of the building, bring everything in, truck will pull back out on the 70 and be gone.
Okay.
Or the other way around.
We're gonna revise
So you're
it.
gonna get
So it's
you're
gonna be
get a
pretty
revised
different.
plan.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Sounds like it's
but
gonna
as we're
look pretty
revising it, we're looking at all your comments. Again, and this sort of started with what Josh was saying. In your letter, it talks about buffer requirements. I read the buffer requirements section. You know, we don't really, there's really not a required buffer between our property and the office building next door. Because we're similar uses, we're not dissimilar uses. So there's really, the ordinance doesn't say there's a requirement. So this isn't a buffer, so we don't need a waiver of the buffer width. It's just a row of trees, it's a row of bushes. The other side, you know.
What's on the other side?
The gas station. Technically, the gas station should have buffered to us because that's a more noxious use than ours is. But since we're getting rid of this driveway,
We're not gonna problem
you
anyway.
know, it's going to be our trash enclosure and the end of a driveway. It's not, you know, the end of a stub driveway. So
We'll look at that UDL section on the buffer relief.
Yeah, it's just-
I know what you're talking about.
just the way these things get.
Because you got, right, you're saying you have two similar uses as opposed to.
Buffers are usually when you're going from residential use
yeah,
to
from
commercial,
residential
or
to
from a
commercial.
school to residential.
Right,
or-
if I had residential next door and I'm putting in an office building with a restaurant, I need a buffer.
Right.
And I agree, I should
Right.
have a 25-foot buffer there, or
Right.
whatever's required by the ordinance. But if I have an office building to an office building, there's no, same as residential to
Yeah, we'll look at
residential.
that.
You know,
That's fair.
We don't buffer these, you know, it's not a buffer, but we're providing a nice row of shrubs along there to, you know,
Yeah.
dim headlights, things like that. So, you know, that,
Uh,
I just want to bring that up. We'll bring it up in our letter when we resubmit. Because then it takes it away from that we need a wait.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
One
away
less
from
waiver.
requesting a waiver from the board for something that I don't think
In a
is.
nutshell,
Right.
we're trying to request less relief.
No, sure, I don't blame
Thank you
you.
very much.
Can't blame you there.
Okey dokey.
But, you know, I kind of went over, you know, briefly what we're
Well,
what we're
yeah.
looking at. If you don't have any, you know, any
Well, no, that.
any issue with that right this
Your
minute.
description, the design makes a lot more
Sounds-
sense than what you have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
I think so too.
Well, you know, we were trying, I'm working with the county that I have a driveway here and a driveway here, and I
Oh,
have to be,
yeah.
and I have to be
Driveways.
25 feet
50.
between the curbs
No,
of
it
the,
gets tricky.
Yeah.
so I can,
Right,
I
you
can,
got county on one side, state on the other,
Yeah.
and then you got
DOT
something
on the
going
other
on at this
side.
And I have
intersection.
MUA water and sewer, so don't worry about it.
yeah, but
That needs to be okay.
yeah, well, that's a different issue.
Right.
We need a waiver from the DOT because the lot is undersized.
That's existing
It's
condition.
an existing lot, so.
But they'll give us
that-
one access.
That's not an issue,
Oh,
but
right.
but they'll give us one access. They're never gonna give us two. So we're gonna get rid of that other, that one-way exit.
Okey dokey.
Is this one also on for 9/19?
Yes.
Okay.
8/24 vice plans?
What's today's date?
Assuming?
We've
Yeah.
started them already.
Today
We started
is-
already.
What's
The
today?
8th.
8th, I'm like totally gone.
24th, I think it's Thursday. Is the 22nd, we have a
Yeah,
meeting?
usually I set the deadline for Thursday.
Okay, and we do have a quorum tonight, right? I was told till 7.
We have a quorum from 6 to 7. We may have a quorum after that if we can get Ellie Renner a babysitter, so Ellie Renner can be there after that.
My daughter is away, or I would have offered her.
There you go, Glenn.
Can do that.
We did a job.
The applicant.
Well, she's not here anyway. It's not an issue.